Hey there, YouTubers. It's me again. I just finished a video about Gay Pride 2019, and I wanted to sort of continue in that because what I did bring up was the idea of mental illness, not with regard to any of these good people, but with regard to the collective psychology that might be leading us into needless war, which we've been doing over and over now. I'm 61 and I've seen lots of wars now. It's one after another, and I'm seeing mental illness. And I think the Adam Curtis films were good in that regard. He takes a psychological view, but also a group psychological view. And that I think, kind of as a mental discipline, I would say, oh, and by the way, there's nothing about you personally that could be interesting as far as diagnosing the problem. It's like getting you on the couch, whoever you are, as a single individual. That's like getting an ant from the ant colony, and it's the ant colony that's sick. So, as far as analysis goes, we have to do it in the realm of social media, which includes television, it includes the news shows, CNN, Fox, and those kind of things. That's where we should discuss our mental illness concerns because it's a social issue. I think reality television is a good place to start. Why is that what we call reality television? There's so many things it could have been besides a stupid game show. Why do people turn away from reality and just live in these fictional circuses? That's a question. It's what we call a query. So here's a funny David Koski on Facebook. He collects these examples of where people don't know how to draw a soccer ball because our curriculum in this culture, we keep people in ignorance about what is not in the Oxford Dictionary, a word called HexaPent, which is hexagons, pentagons, and the Buckminster fullerene molecule, discovered in the 80s, really helped push it to the forefront, but people still don't know how to draw a soccer ball. So I have this blog post called, where is it, Hexawa, and that's from Urban Dictionary. I'm getting the kind of this sort of the question of ignorance, and another example of a messed up soccer ball, and more examples. And ironically, in the United Kingdom, they've got this freeway sign or road sign that tells you that there's a soccer stadium nearby, and they got it wrong. They got the soccer ball messed up. That's their logo. And this guy's trying to do a petition to fix it. And what was funny was all the higher dimensional, like polytope mathematicians coming in and saying, well, in higher dimensions, this is actually correct or whatever. In other words, they had a very lame and eggheady excuse for ignorance, which I thought was perfect. Perfect. So to summarize this Anglophone culture in a lot of ways, never wrong, just multidimensional. Okay, anyway, multi-universe, whatever. Fun stuff. So I just wanted to also go into my metaphysics just a tiny bit, in that if you've watched my other YouTubes, you know that planet Earth, Spaceship Earth, is what I call the, excuse me, the promised land, right? Like if you want to get biblical and talk about updating, I would say that this little speck of a planet in the middle of nowhere with all humanity stuck on it, going in circles around the sun or in a spiral, however you want to look at it, I'd say that's the promised land, right? And then in between that, I would say we have a spectrum. We can look at that as, what's the metaphor we want to use? Do we want to use Spaceship Earth? That was a nice one, I thought. That was the Bucky Fuller thing. Let's call it Spaceship Earth. But it's also kind of a nut house. The people are somewhat insane, and they're attacking each other. They're just crazy. Planet of the Apes. So I think the spectrum is Spaceship Earth, where we're all like Star Trek and have our act together, and we're more worried about ETs. And then there's a nuthouse Earth, which is where we are now, which is kind of prehistory, pre-human. I think if we ever get sane in any way, whatever it took, that'll be a marking point. It's like, wow, at some point we got sane. It couldn't have happened soon enough, right? It's like, so that might be salvation or something. But again, at the individual level, there's nothing to hope for or look for. It can't happen. It's not about you, an individual. And I only emphasize that because it becomes this private search for ego delights and, personal pleasantness, which I don't think is the karma issue. It's like it's collective psychology, and we could feel a lot better, not be on a ghetto planet as much, and have less spiritual distress. But we can't solve it with drugs, and we can't solve it with individualized therapy because it's not an individual's problem. But we can look into social media and see, some idea of what might be going wrong. I appreciate those people who are joining me in the analysis. I know people like Freud and stuff, a la Adam Curtis, threw up their hands and pronounced man is incurable, and I understand that. It's very biblical, and that's how God is felt, right? A few times, it's like the hopelessness of it all, and that's kind of what led to the flood, right? And then, well, let's try just send my only son and see if that works. Like if I wanted to get Christian about it, it's like it's try everything and see if you can cure this sickly species, but it's not an easy job. I don't say I have the answers necessarily. I do like looking at the buckyball here, though. That's fun. All right, just thought I'd follow up on that. This is a HexaPent 2 of high frequency, some kind of rhombic trichondahedron, I believe. All right, stop recording. See you later.